Hello, welcome. It's Hooked Boxing. We're back. We've got Paolo who's doing the Rashford celebration. I don't know what's going on here. He's a Fulham fan, so that's a bit weird. But we are back. Paolo, hello. Do I have to wake you up? What's going on?
How you doing, man? You're right.
It's a good start.
Listen, man. It's nice. I'm good, man. I'm good. Listen, I'm just excited to get into it this week. A lot of news come out. We're talking about a different boxing board this week. That's different. Mauricio gets a break.
Yeah.
Because the IBF have been doing a couple of stupid things. So yeah, it's interesting. Boxing news has been interesting. Obviously, we're going to go through the weekly roundup in a minute. But some shockers from the weekend. I was shocked anyway. Lucky we didn't do a bet on that because I'm pretty sure
I know.
Bet on that.
I know.
Who would have done what? But I think both of us would have voted for Sky Nicholson.
100%. That's why we didn't do a bet. We thought it was a given.
Yeah.
So shows you how much we know.
We would have lost against nobody. And then we would have to let the general public decide what our thing is, which I'm still waiting for you to send across to me, by the way.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So, yeah, let me know. I don't know how we're going to... I mean, because you've won the bet, you decide how we distribute it, be it via a reel, via live, you decide.
It's got to be a reel.
It's got to be a reel, isn't it?
It's got to be a reel.
I've done one of these before with chili, and it was not great, yeah. Ghost pepper chili?
Ghost pepper.
Is it ghost pepper? Ghost something chili?
Ghost pepper.
I only bit a little bit of it off, pause, and yeah. I just had to say pause there, Connor. I only bit a little bit off. I'm not going to stop saying it because it sounds worse every time you say it. But yeah, that finished me.
Hot. Yeah, no, that's the thing is I got to be slightly careful because I know there's a repercussion to it of when I get something wrong, but equally might as well just go for it. So we'll see. But I'll keep that in mind. I'm trying to chilies. It's not a bad idea. Right, let's just go through the weekly roundup. There's only big topics this week. The only thing we're not going to talk about too much is Michaela Mayer versus Sandy Ryan rematch. Even that's going to be a great fight. There's no controversy so far this week. No paint like last time. And Brian Norman Jr. is on the undercard. So I'm just excited for that. The other thing that's happening this weekend is the debut of Pat Brown, which means we're finally getting Cameron Wong versus Jordan Flynn on the undercard. And Pat Brown, obviously Olympian, who Eddie Hearn is promoting, but labeling as kind of Britain's next superstar. So I'm excited.
I'm excited. You promote. Listen, Eddie Hearn's the best promoter.
That's what I mean.
He is in the world.
He's promoting.
We need to see. Yeah, of course. Exciting to see where he goes. I wish the best of luck to him. Let's judge after we see the performances.
Exactly.
Of where he goes, because we haven't seen him fight at a pro level yet on a stage like this. So I think it'd be wrong for us to speak of it before we actually see it.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that next week as a kind of a main topic. This week, however, that's kind of all the weekly roundup. There's been a few fights. A few good fighters have been signed. Jake Paul's MVP have signed a lot of female boxers, including Alicia Baumgardner and
That's interesting.
Ramla Ali, Dina Thorsland as well. So another world champion. So that's clearly the route they're going for.
Jake Paul's got building a stable of fighters now, don't he?
He really is. He's got predominantly female as well in terms of from prospect to world champion.
It's smart though because
it's very smart
because he's picking elite level females. Where you've got Serrano, where you've got Alicia Baumgardner, who's regarded as one of the best kind of in the world at her weight. Obviously, there was controversy that she went through in the last couple of years.
But
found guilty of that?
No, she it was ruled. What was it? Well, she wasn't found guilty. She wasn't banned or suspended or anything, but she got let go by Matchroom, and we don't know if that's related.
See, Eddie Hearn speaks out heavily about his fighters defending it. That would question to me, with all due respect.
Well, that's what I mean.
Guilty or not, because Eddie Hearn's somebody who will fight for you until the end. I mean, look at Conor Benn.
That's what I mean. The Conor Benn one's the key because he has at no point said Conor Benn. He's never not backed him. He's properly stuck his neck out, taking all his shit. defending Conor Benn.
Mm.
Whereas Alicia Baumgardner seemed to get let go pretty quick. Like that
Yeah, it was quick.
fell apart
No, it was quick.
So
I think it was before most people realised it as well, to be honest.
Yeah. So a bit of a weird one. But she's now with MVP, so or most valuable promotions. Other than that, not a lot of small topics. We're going to go straight to the Australian boxing. Pretty cool, really. Waking up on Saturday morning and watching fights from 8 in the morning till midnight. Now the first fight of the night.
8 in the morning till midnight.
Yeah, I'm tired. 8 in the morning till 11 a.m.
Yeah. I was going to say
that's what I meant. First fight of that night, who is between two fighters. One's Palacio, the other is the guy that actually won. The guy that won is like a boogeyman. He's going to be really good. I can't remember his name, so that's not very useful for the show, but he's really good. And that was a great fight.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, like I'm going to be honest with you. This is what it's all about, though, because let's be honest. Yeah, I hate it when I switch on like a stream or watch any boxing content, and I get somebody on there, regardless of your experience in boxing. But you know when you can tell someone's trying really hard to pretend that they know who that person is. Let's be honest. Yeah, we're all learning about different fighters. We're gonna. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Australian boxing's really coming up, to be honest with you, in terms of the shows that they're putting on. Top Rank have put on some shows out there. We don't really talk about that because Top Rank is shit. But Matchroom predominantly have put on shows out there, and I've gone, wow, to be honest with you. So, you know, they're building a stable of fighters. So for the boxing fraternity, we learn about new fighters on every card. I mean, let's be honest. Look at this. Even I know we're going to talk about it in depth, but even go to the main event or co-main, sorry, and Sky Nicholson lost.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For his name is Imam Katiev. Properly good fighter. Never heard of him before. Don't know when I'll hear of him next, but he's one to look out for because Palacio was seemingly meant to be like a good test, but nothing crazy. And the two of them it was a great fight, but you could just see Imam Katiev, light heavyweight, seriously good. Then you've got Moana Jr., who the heavyweight matchroom recently signed.
Getting pushed a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, he's been on a few shows now. Still not seen anything from him against an opponent.
Yeah, this is the problem. I don't know with him at the moment at what point. Obviously, Eddie Hearn's building him up, which is clear to see.
Yeah.
But at some point, you've got to move away from that now and go, what is the next test? I mean, if you look at, say, across these waters, for example, I think Fabio Wardley is the main example. You know, he was fighting, you know, at British level, maybe a little below that before. But people knew who he was, built his name up, fought against Fraser, Big Fraser, and had the draw. They never and then they revisited obviously the rematch, didn't they? Obviously, Fabio Wardley won that. He's now looking to go on to sort of looking at title challengers who are, how do I put it? He's looking at title challengers or people that have fought for world titles, who challenge for world titles, who have been in the conversation.
Yeah.
So Fabio Wardley's gone in the right direction now. So with obviously, again, going back to obviously the card in Australia, this specific heavyweight, which we all know about, but it's just when is he making that switch over?
He looked good again, but this is the problem: is the opponent level is just not that high. But he did his job. Then we get to Sky Nicholson versus Tiara Brown. Tiara Brown is pretty much perfect for women's boxing right now. The
only issue is she's 36.
Yeah, she's not going to be about for like crazy long. Cool story though. She was a police officer before she was a boxer. So I like a little bit of backstory. It's quite cool.
What? I like her story. I'm glad she won. people are saying that the win's controversial.
I think it would have been really controversial the other way. Sky Nicholson didn't look
No, I agree with you, but I'm saying to you, there were a lot of people out there that would have said that they thought Sky Nicholson won. So it's like it kind of builds for another rematch, maybe where there's going to be a rematch anyway, but to decide on that fight. I think the dangerous thing with doing a rematch is Sky Nicholson was probably shocked and surprised, maybe surprised at a couple of things that Tia put out against her. But come second fight, I think Sky Nicholson's good enough to make adjustments.
Yeah.
The second fight would be harder for her, and she could potentially take that title back. I know it's hindsight saying she just lost, but on a split decision, there is a lot there to be.
I think she'd win. I think she'd beat Tiara Brown. She didn't look her normal self, and Tiara Brown's style, and this is why I think she's perfect for women's boxing, is it's a style that over 10 2-minute rounds can be maintained.
Yeah.
If you add 2 more rounds to it, potentially this was always going to be Tiara Brown's night. Like, no matter what, you were never taking it away from her. But you could add 2 more rounds. If you added another minute to each round, she would have gassed out. And then Sky Nicholson wins that fight quite easily. Now, that's not the situation, and we've got 10 2-minute rounds. We deal with what we've got. But I thought Sky looked really good in moments, and she was catching her. She just seemed to engage way more than usual. And I think it's fair to say was a bit sloppy in the engagements. Didn't really cover herself up very well.
Yeah.
And the accuracy of her punching towards the later rounds was not the normal Sky that we see. Which is kind of why I don't love it when fighters come out and say, like, I wasn't myself or whatever. And it's kind of, you know, you've just lost your first fight. Of course, you're going to say that because it doesn't feel right. It's not usual to lose. But I actually almost kind of believe it because it was so different from what we usually see. But props to Tiara Brown because she was really good. She went to the backyard and she got a decision, which is a tough thing to do. And she fought well and she deserved it as well. So it wasn't any controversy from my point of view. But I think Sky Nicholson, I think, will beat her in the rematch. And that rematch is huge now. The build up for this fight was brilliant.
It's interesting. As I said to you, I'm convinced that she's gonna come back in the rematch and right the wrongs. I think she's good enough to do it.
Yeah.
But take nothing away, she lost, and you know we've got a new champion, which kind of makes things interesting. And what an age to win it, 36.
Yeah. Dream come true.
No, that's it. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, do you think that you know, in terms of obviously when we specifically speak about female boxing, is the loss more difficult in terms of compared to male boxing where there's a lot of push from Saudi? And to be fair, and I'm really surprised at this point because we haven't seen a massive amounts of it for female boxing at the moment, and I'm not sure in terms of events being put on in Saudi where you know the fighters can benefit massively from fighting out there financially and exposure.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when you look at the male boxing, you know, they're bringing on wild card fighters, if you want to call it like, or people that are building their name on going on these Saudi shows and earning money whilst they're doing it. But we haven't seen that massively with female boxing, which is why I think Saudi have come in and taken the fear away of people getting and losing their own because it's not the end be all and end all.
Yeah. 100%.
I haven't seen the same effect for female boxing yet. I feel like because of the way things are, a loss can be quite impactful at this point. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, it can. But I think also women's boxing, I mean, like Katie Taylor lost. And I know she came back and won the rematch, but I think people were more surprised that she just lost because everyone kind of thought she's not going to lose a fight. then the fact I don't think anyone cared about the O going. Serrano has losses on her record from before Serrano was the biggest, or one of the biggest deals in women's boxing. Chantel Cameron has, most female fighters have a loss on their record. The only one that doesn't, and I don't think ever will, is Claressa Shields. The other side to it is you've got less time for judges to see your work. You know, in comparison, you lose from women's to men's boxing. There's a 16-minute fight difference. 16 minutes could win you a fight. So I think it's easier for both the fighters and fans to look at a women's fight and go, okay, that's a bit unfortunate. She wasn't quite herself. Like Sky Nicholson, wasn't quite herself, without looking at it and going, are they rubbish? It's always that, like, I think it's a psychological element. Sky Nicholson's getting a lot of hate at the moment because she was saying she'd beat Amanda Serrano and then she's lost to Tiara Brown, who relatively is, compared to Serrano and Nicholson, is unknown. Not anymore, but she was. But I think that's more just people have a bit of a problem when you're relatively young, talented, and when you say things and then back it up every time.
Yeah.
So the minute you don't do that, or the minute you can't do that, that's when you kind of get attacked.
I think that's general boxing, though, isn't it? Like, as in,
yeah, of course.
You know what it is? I feel like fighters are not allowed to be confident and talk their shit without sounding cocky. No, sorry. Fighters are not allowed to talk their shit without being accused of sounding cocky. At the end of the day, when you talk about the high level of boxing, if you don't believe that you're going to go in there and win, what is the point? Other than the fact that you're there to collect money or you're a journeyman.
Exactly. You shouldn't be in there. That's the fact of it.
So for me, it's like, I mean, I draw the line at Claressa Shields saying that she could beat up Golovkin. I know self-belief is a powerful thing, but let's settle down. Yeah.
But look, Golovkin, that's crazy. That's just a crazy statement. But I prefer to hear the fighters, both male and female, say the most ridiculous things in the world than when they are quite honest. I like the honesty side. You get some fighters that they can do that.
How do you mean honest though?
As in when you're getting so Canelo will get asked if he's going to fight Usyk because it's like, oh, you two are big names, and that's completely ridiculous. But Canelo will say, I'll beat Usyk. He gets away with it because he's got the legacy and people know he's about that life and blah, blah, blah. The honesty I'm talking about is when you get a welterweight and they're asking him, could you go and fight Canelo? And they're going, well, Canelo's, way bigger than me, so I don't know.
Yeah.
That I don't mind that. But I prefer when you get your welterweight like Terence Crawford who's going, I'm going to beat Canelo. That's not going to be a problem. So what I'd hate to see, and the fact is we won't see it because this kind of fighter won't get the screen time because simply they probably don't have the self-belief to get them to the point where they could be seen as much, is a fighter that would say, no, he would beat me. Dave Allen is one of the best examples of this. There's the honesty factor. If Dave Allen knows he could not get in the ring with really above British level, maybe when he was younger, but not now. So he knows Johnny Fisher rematch is a huge fight for him. He would get in there with David Adelaide, but he has said many times, I'm not touching Moses Atama because I'll get absolutely mangled. He's too quick, too powerful. He'll outdo me. That honesty's fine because he's not a prospect. But if that was a 23-year-old heavyweight coming up saying, I'm not getting in there with them, he wouldn't have a promotion behind him because they wouldn't be interested. He wouldn't have a fan base behind him. So this is where you got to, casual fans have to kind of just take a step back and go, why are they saying these things? Why is Claressa Shields saying she could beat Golovkin? Is it because she's going to fight Golovkin? No. It's because she's saying it, because she knows people are going to react to that. And by the way, I do think she almost definitely thinks she could.
I genuinely believe she believes that, though.
Yeah, but that's why she's the best female boxer we've ever seen.
Yeah,
because she's a little bit mental. Like, she is a bit crazy, which, to be fair, it works out for her. I mean, and she backs it up, so fair enough. But she ain't beating Golovkin, but yeah. But then, to be fair, not many people do beating Golovkin's. I wouldn't even, I wouldn't wish my worst enemy. Not that I've got many enemies because I'm not a child, but I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy to get into a ring with Golovkin, even now when he's retired and a bit like put the pounds on.
yeah,
he would fuck you up. He would hurt you.
yeah. But it's interesting. Like I said to you, going back to the point, obviously, of speaking about obviously bleeding from the Sky Nicholson fight. Yeah, you're right, and I think some points to take from that is, do we need to start seeing, because maybe 60 minutes extra, like you said, could have even worked in Sky Nicholson's favour because of the extra minutes. Maybe that wouldn't have worked, for the other fighter in her favour. So it's interesting. There's a lot of points that you can bring up and say to why it's right, but at the same time, the really crux of it is, if they're doing the same amount of time as men, the books have got to be balanced out, because some of them will fill stadiums more than the men.
Yeah.
But they have to really fight to get paid for it. So there's two sides to that, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Either way, Sky Nicholson will be back. George Kambosos Jr. won against late step-in Jake Wiley, which is a great fight, but it kind of went the way we thought it would. I don't think Kambosos will ever get to world level again.
I don't think he needs to, though, but I think he will, because they're talking about potentially him fighting Catterall next, when Catterall's world level. So
yeah,
there's that element to it as well. But at the end of the day, I think Kambosos will fight anyone, and he can.
yeah.
So I think he'll always be in that world level. That he was undisputed champion as well, by the way.
Yeah, I sometimes can't get my head around how that happened.
It was a surprise, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, he beat Tio, didn't he?
Oh, Theo, my favourite fighter.
We're not even talking about, I mean, Kambosos' record or his resume is mental. He'll go down as a bit of like a boxing hero, not quite a legend, but he'll go down as a bit of a hero because the guy has fought Haney twice. Okay, he lost to Haney twice, but Haney is a special fighter.
Yeah,
he's fought Lomachenko. He's fought Teofimo Lopez. He's probably now going to go into another big fight, which looks like Catterall makes sense because I think that's winnable for Catterall, and the winner of that fight probably then goes into a world title shot. So it's a good fight. He's going to end up having fought some of the best fighters of this generation. He might lose to most of them, but he'll always have the win over Teofimo. So that's, a win, and that's just the biggest win in my books. And he'll always be an undisputed champion, which is nuts.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Maybe certain fighters, just other fighters, have their numbers.
Yeah.
I think, it'd be interesting. If Kambosos beats him again, you've got to say he just has his number.
100%.
That's it, man.
Right, let's talk about yet another governing body being shit. Derek Chisora, 6-7 months ago, tells us he is going to fight 2 more times and then he is done. And then he is done. He fights 1 more time and he wins against Otto Wallin. When he beats Joe Joyce, then he says 2 more times. Beats Otto Wallin. Everyone's chuffed. He obviously wants a huge fight. He wants AJ, Chisora, AJ, Dubois, Usyk, Parker. He wants a big name, obviously. Fair enough. Of course you do. It's your last fight. get the most money you can out of it. If there's a world title on the line, cool, why not? Not deserved, though, and also not just not deserved, but unsafe. The IBF belt have made it mandatory for Daniel Dubois, who is the heaviest hitting heavyweight right now. How the fuck does that make sense?
All right, my first problem with this is when you actually look at Chisora, take away his age because he's 41 years old, but there is no age on boxing. As long as a board passes you, you can't. So I get it. You want to use that, but unfortunately we can't.
But then look who he's been fighting.
Yeah, but some of the guys that he's been fighting, I mean, you could argue Dillian White is a dangerous fight for him. But he fought him twice.
Yeah, okay. So the difference for me is Dillian White is a dangerous fight. But Dillian White is coming off of the drug stuff and the fight in Ireland that nobody really saw. I mean, the Dillian White fight. Dillian White isn't in a position where we're going, oh, he's a really dangerous fighter right now.
Yeah.
Daniel Dubois is the heavyweight world champion of the world.
It's interesting because do you know what's mad though? Chisora fought for the WBC world title. You got to remember that as well. Because he fought Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I know, but that's just.
So it's like, yeah, cool. But when you look at his last 3 fights, the guys fought Gerald Washington, Joe Joyce, and Otto Wallin. So those 3 wins, and then before that he fought Fury and lost. So those 3 wins qualify him to fight for the IBF title.
Yeah.
The problem you've got is, like the decisions these boards are making, it's making it harder and harder for people to want to watch boxing. That's really the bottom line of it. Yeah. Because I started watching UFC a lot recently, and I just love their model, innit? Like, I used to be a hypocrite of it before. I'm a hypocrite for what I'm about to say. Not a hypocrite, but like before I was against it. But these decisions, for example, I'll always watch boxing, Connor, yeah?
Yeah.
But these decisions made me go 1 week, fuck it, I'm turning this off. I'm just going to watch UFC. Like, literally, that is how sick I got of it. Now, imagine that to a casual fan. Now you've lost 15 to 20% of your fan base because you've just got old men making shit decisions.
But that's the thing. And that's actually where we're at now. Because I'm not supporting... I don't think Derek Chisora will fight for the IBF world title. But it's the fact that they are pushing for it.
I love boxing. I don't support... But how bad does this sound? I love boxing. I love to watch boxing. Right now, I hate the politics. People are going to say it's boxing politics. It's like anything with football or anything you're in. But I feel like something like boxing, where it's right in front of your face to the point with Chisora fighting for an IBF title.
Yeah.
You've really got to be like, come on. And Chisora is a warrior. Good luck to him. He's got the IBF shot. But do I think that prior to him fighting for a title, you should be fighting a mandatory against the mandatory in the IBF? Because has he done that? No. So we're just giving title shots away.
And this is the thing. And the problem is, right, imagine this was football. And they create a new trophy, another one in England. And they say, right, Manchester City, you're in the final. And Crystal Palace, you're in the final as well. And everyone's there, like, that doesn't make any sense. Because that you've randomly picked 2 teams. All right, City are the champions. So that kind of makes sense. But Crystal Palace, like, why? They're just going to lose. Which is what will happen. The difference is that in this scenario, Man City get to absolutely fucking kill Crystal Palace on a literal basis.
Mm.
When they're making these decisions and they're making them clearly on the basis of what makes money, because they've basically looked at it and gone, it's an all-British clash. We can have it at the O2, maybe in Manchester, the new stadium, sent that out. make a shitload of money. They'll take their 2% that the boards take. So they're like, cool, that kind of makes sense. The Joshua rematch isn't going to happen next. Fury's retired. Sure, we'll do this. But what they don't seem to consider is the fact you're dealing with people's lives, and Chisora, for probably all the right reasons, will never back out of a fight.
Yeah.
If you say to him right now, get in there with Dubois, he'll be in there now. He'll get in the ring before Dubois has even put his gloves on. And that's the kind of guy he is, and that's why we love him. But also that's why he needs protecting.
Yeah.
Because he'll keep fighting no matter what. He'll just keep going.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to look at it and go, right, well, where can we be sensible? And the best way to be sensible is to not give this guy a title shot against Daniel Dubois. Don't get me wrong. If it happened and Chisora somehow won that fight, wow. But he's not winning the fight.
It'd be interesting, though. It's always a what if, though, isn't it?
I think it's what if till the first bell goes, and then we realise exactly what we're watching. And we kind of see that, look, Daniel Dubois is an animal at the moment. There's very few fighters that
I think Parker beats him.
You think Parker beats Dubois?
Yeah.
That's a fair point. But that I'm okay with. Parker is young and on a streak of wins right now that basically are only matched by Dubois and Usyk.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
But Chisora's beat Joyce, who Joyce had just been, apps like back to back, some of the worst knockouts we've ever seen against Zhang. Then he fought, what's his name? But he went 10 rounds and he stopped him in the 10th. But it was a terrible fight. Jesus, hold on. Let me find his name. Cash Ali.
It's a terrible fight.
Awful fight. He looked sluggish. He wasn't any good. And then he fought Chisora and, again, was no good. I mean, Joyce is now going to fight Filip Hrgović, and that's going one way. Hrgović will beat him.
Yeah, that's going to end badly for Joyce.
Yeah. So then you look at, so he's fought Gerald Washington that's not a fight that warrants anything. Well done for winning the fight, but that is what it is. And Otto Wallin, who knows what's going on with that? I mean, I didn't think he would win that fight, but Otto Wallin is just not clearly the level that we I don't even know how he put that performance in against Fury, because since then there's been no evidence that guy can throw a jab.
Yeah, it was bad performance for him. So, yeah, failed to see why IBF have given a title shot in the sense of when there could be other people that may be more deserving to it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I am happy for Chisora. If he goes
of course,
title and then retires, that's a drop the mic moment.
Oh, massively. I love that idea, by the way. It's just about if you're being diplomatic and saying what should the boards do that's correct for the sport. That's not the answer.
No, it's not that.
Fairy tale story. Chisora gets in there and beats Dubois in the 50th fight of his career, wins a world title. Brilliant. Love it. But yeah, it's just another instance where the boards are fucking up. And it's always the IBF and the WBC. WBO and WBA do a lot of shit as well, but the WBC and IBF just seem to do it all. Yeah.
The only positive I will say about the IBF is they're probably one of the boards that actually enforce the fights. They
do, which worries me for this because it means that there's probably actually a half decent chance we see this fight. But you are right. I mean, they enforce their own rules. They don't muck about or change them or bend them for other people, Look, we're going to talk about this fight briefly. So William Zepeda versus Farmer II. We're not going to talk about too much. The first fight was brilliant. Zepeda got knocked down, won the fight. A little controversial. I do think he won on points. As anyway, he did win on points. I think it was deserved. Obviously on the Riyadh season card with Billum Smith and Zerdo. We're now seeing the second fight. Zepeda could set himself up here to fight Shakur.
Mm.
That's the outcome I see from this.
But finally, we will see Shakur in there with somebody who's credible.
Yep.
Because we ain't seen that. And I've been screaming out for that.
We've not seen that since 2022. We've not seen Shakur in there with anyone that's of real level.
So it's about, we for the boxing world, we need Zepeda to win.
Yep.
And most people want him to win as well, to be fair. But as in, he's got to win, get that fight with Shakur. So I can finally say to Greeny, what is Shakur made of? We're going to find out.
Oh, yeah. And we will. Zepeda is lethal. Tevin Farmer's a lot better than I thought he was. I hadn't watched... Before their fight, I hadn't watched any Tevin Farmer fights. After their fight, I was like, I need to watch this guy. And I don't really understand how Zepeda had so many problems. Tevin Farmer's a good fighter, but Zepeda, I thought, was levels above that.
Mm.
So I'm expecting a good performance from this weekend. And I think, given Gervonta Davis is going to fight Lamont Roach next in their rematch, Garcia and Haney are tied up for the whole year.
That's good, though, because at least we're seeing them like fighting.
Yeah, basically, what I'm saying, Zepeda Shakur is the only fight that makes sense.
Yeah,
because all the other major fights are kind of taken. So hopefully Zepeda wins and they announce it on the spot, but it won't go down quite like that. We would have heard a rumor. Yeah, but I just wanted to bring that up because it's something for people to watch out for. It's going to be a 4 or 5 in the morning job if you're in the UK. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just watch it Saturday evening. I'll stick it on the Zone, rewatch. Nice and easy. But it's one to look out for. Also, Zepeda's fights are always good. Always entertaining. The way he throws about 1 million punches around, so always good. Right. This, more you than me, because I've not watched the interview. But Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr., and they were on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show, which, whether you like him or not, is actually quite a good show sometimes. And this interview has gone viral for many reasons, but I've not watched it yet. So take it away.
Summary of it is Conor Benn, Eubank won't shake Conor Benn's hand because he's a drug cheat.
Cool.
Yeah. I felt like Piers Morgan was directing the questions more in Conor's favour, although I like Conor as well. I do think you've got to be impartial when you're doing that kind of magnitude of interviews. Eubank seemed to have no remorse towards Conor Benn. He literally, this is probably the most focused I've seen him for a long time.
Yeah.
He wants to do some serious damage, and so does Conor Benn. We were going to find out though in April, but it's interesting because when you look at obviously Conor Benn, Eubank, he is going 2 weeks up to fight Eubank, and I do think that's going to be a massive disadvantage for him. But I still think the fight is 50-50 because on the other end of it, Eubank's got to drop down to 160, and I don't think he's fought at 160 since he was 21, 22. That was something that his dad said that he hasn't been naturally weighing that much since.
I think, after rehydrating, I think,
Yeah, that's what I think I meant.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it is dangerous in terms of at 34 years old to put your body through that when you've been so comfortable fighting at a weight. I think that's going to play against Eubank. If he can get past that, then we're looking at a victory for Eubank, I think. But I think that's going to be a massive factor.
Yeah. It's almost a shame how big of a factor that will be.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping. I'm now.
Conor. Sorry.
That's right. I'm hyped for this fight. When they were first doing it, before all the drug stuff, I was, I think, as excited as I've ever been for a fight. Their promotion for it, where they did sort of day with Eubank, day with Conor Benn in their training camps, and watching them, and then they had them with the what's it called, the lights projecting like their dads fighting onto their body, like just all of it. It was mental. I'm I'm getting there with this fight again. I'm getting to that point of excitement. I think Conor Benn will win. We'll talk about this more when we get closer to fight week, obviously. And it'll be interesting to see the weigh-ins, which will happen the day after the show. But I just think Conor Benn's relentless pressure, the fact Eubank's lost before, I think Conor Benn actually goes and wins that fight.
You think?
I think so. But if I'm honest, I don't know. It's actually turning into a really good 50-50, where the winner of that fight will go and fight for a world title, which for the both of them, Conor Bennett will be his first time. Eubank, it will be the go and get it, and then you've won a world title, and you can, you've got a legacy. Because he's had some great fights, Eubank, but his legacy at the moment is being one of the best trash talkers we've seen from England in our long time. And would you say he's out of his dad's shadow? Because I wouldn't.
No.
Weirdly, Conor Benn is more out of his dad's shadow than Eubank.
And they train together as well.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, but then I think a massive part of that is his dad's kind of Conor Benn's dad's kind of let him get on with it. His own coaches, whereas Eubank wanted to do everything.
Yeah, that's true. Different personalities.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Conor will do it, but I'm not really. I almost don't have. I'm kind of happy for both. Whoever wins, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I like both of them. I know Eubank plays a character really well. I don't think he's actually a dick. I think he's a really nice guy. You see all the stuff about his brother and all of that, which is not that relevant to the fight, but it's just good to where he adopted his nephew, and he's just a nice guy. And then Conor Benn's really a family man, and whether the drug stuff, I don't think he did cheat intentionally.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm getting excited for it.
It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. See, I can't even wear these glasses because it looks like I've got two fucking lenses as ring lights. My eyes are going mental right now. Cross-eyed by someone in the comments. Thanks for that.
So unnecessarily rude as well.
Oh, it's rude, isn't it? I've got a lazy eye. Crazy. No, correct. Current words he said was one of your eyes is in a different postcode. Cheers.
Oh, that's so rude.
I'm here for it, man.
That's funny though. It'll be
I
fun.
grew up watching South Park. I can't be offended that easily.
South Park's the shit. That's good.
Yeah, I know. Conor Benn though, and Eubank. I think it all depends on the condition Eubank comes in on the night.
Yeah.
That really is my opinion of it. You're right. Conor Benn's going to be advancing on the front foot. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to come in front of Eubank and fight. But I don't think Eubank's fought anyone like that. But he is a 147 fighter. So how the power carries up, I don't know.
That's the big thing for me as well.
Yeah.
Eubank does have a good chin. Obviously, the Liam Smith fight was a bit of a shock. But it's whether or not Conor Benn can actually hurt Eubank.
Yeah.
If he can hurt him, I think that's fight over. If not, I think Eubank slips uppercuts in as Conor Benn's coming on the inside, and I think he might wipe him out. But it's actually a really good fight, and it's really technical as well. This isn't just we've gone and found Nigel Benn's son and gone and found Chris Eubank's son and put them in the ring. This is actually two elite athletes who, in terms of talent, are some of the best boxers from Britain currently.
I would debate that.
Really?
Conor Benn I can understand, but again, he's got to prove. But Eubank has stepped up to world level every time and been terrible.
Well, I don't want to be too rude to the British fighters we've got at the moment, but the roster isn't that great. We've got Dubois and Nick Ball, who are world champions. we've got Hamza Shiraz, who obviously just drew,
Stepped up to world level,
but
but
it didn't
but
come
lost.
off.
Yeah.
He broke his hand, but still. Other than that,
Jack Catterall.
Jack Catterall, yes, but then just stepped up to really world level again. I know he should have been undisputed.
Champion.
I know he should have been undisputed.
I'm gonna put Catterall above Eubank, in my opinion.
Oh no, 100. He's above Eubank, but I'm saying right now, in terms of quality that Britain's got, these are two of the best that we've got to offer.
It's bad, isn't it?
It's a little, not so much a shot against Benn-Eubank, but it's a low point for British boxing right now.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do our pre-recorded show we spoke about, British boxers.
Yeah. But we do have the best prospect in the world. So we've got something. Moses Atama is the best prospect in the world. So
yeah, this is the thing. So another 2 years, we're putting I'm saying 2 years, we're putting Moses Atama in that conversation as best British fighters. I think it's going to be 2 years.
Well, Usyk will retire before that point. Atama's not far. It looks like he's going to fight on the Joyce Hergovich undercard.
Yeah.
Potentially against Charles Martin. That's not a great fight, but Atama will just, to be honest, Atama's going to knock him out, and that's that. He's staying active. He's also starting to now fight the former world champions, and he's fighting the guys that we've seen AJ in there with, and Jared Anderson in there with, and now what we're going to have, and it happens a lot. It's not a new thing, but we're going to see AJ took 2 rounds to knock out Charles Martin. Atama took 40 seconds. It will start building like that, and then he'll get his world title shot. And I think he'll win. I don't see a heavyweight that could beat an Atama in a year's time.
Yeah. I want to see him and Dubois.
I'd love to see him and Dubois.
That will really determine who the best heavyweight is in these sides of the waters.
That fight, if they keep going, if Dubois is still a world champion, if Dubois somehow beats Usyk, which he could, it's heavyweight boxing, so it's not unreasonable, and Atama beats everyone under him, and they could sell Wembley out with that fight.
Yeah.
And they're both quite young as well. Atama's obviously very young, but Dubois not old. That's a fight in the making. We should do an episode on that. We should do the fights that are coming, like future fights. Not stuff for right now, but in like 2 or 3 years' time, it's a fight we want to see.
Coral,
that'd be a good episode.
Bet, man, £10. Moses Atama, heavyweight champion in the next 2.5 years.
Are the odds even good on that? I feel like that's...
I couldn't put a bet on. I tried to do a request to bet in Coral. Remember I said...
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Right. That's boxing this week. We got big fights coming up this week. Like I said, ones to watch, probably Zepeda-Farmer II. That'll be a great fight. And then Michaela Mayer versus Sandy Ryan should be decent as well. Next week, we have got, obviously, another show. We've hopefully got... Well, the Instagram's actually been really consistent at the moment. We've had reels out, thanks to Paolo, all the time. So we are doing well. Don't know if there's anything more to say. Subscribe, like. Paolo, sign it off.
I'm going to sign it off by saying, have a good evening. Carry on watching boxing, or fuck the IBF.